everybody, welcome back to another adult virtual program here at the library. We're going to be making a Moon Shaped Dreamcatcher and talking a little bit about the history of Dreamcatchers. Dreamcatchers are a little bit of a controversial thing. They have been widely appropriated and sold in a lot of places. So for some Indigenous people, they're a hard subject to talk about. But we're going to talk a little bit about the history of them, where they originated, and then we're going to go through a little bit of a demonstration for you guys to make one at home. There are kits available at all 4 locations while supplies last, so you can stop by and get one, or you can find these supplies at any craft store or on Amazon to, get your own and make them at home. For many Indigenous tribes, the Dreamcatcher is a symbol of oneness among numerous Indigenous tribes, but they can be recorded back to the Ojibwa or the Chippewa tribe. They kind of got really popular as a souvenir or something people hang in their house in the 60s and 70s during the Pan-Indian movement, which is where there were a lot of interminglings of the tribes within other areas, and there were some multiracial marriages happening and relationships happening, and so they kind of transitioned into our world and becoming part of decor and something that's hung up in people's houses. They are believed to have originated by the Spider Woman in the Chippewa tribes. She was the custodian of all the infants and adults. However, it became a difficult task for her to take care of everyone. So they started spreading out. As they started spreading out across different regions of North America, that became harder for her. So she encouraged the women in the tribe to start weaving magical weaves for their infants. They used willow hoops and yarn to weave them. They gifted them to the children as a medium of protection. These charms hung above the children's bed to catch any bad dreams or harmful spirits that might be present. Each part of the Dreamcatcher has a meaning tied to the physical world. One notable meaning is the round shape that represents the earth, and the web that absorbs the dreams and discharges them during the day. The feathers act as a ladder, allowing good dreams to descend on the infant or the adult who is dreaming. Now, the Lakota tribe has a little bit of a different legend about the origin of Dreamcatchers. They believed that a spiritual leader had a vision from the trickster and teacher spirit who took the form of the spider. So they took their willow hoops and began to weave a web over them as they spoke, and they spoke about the circle of life. The trickster and the teacher spirit told the leaders that there were good and bad forces at play in the life cycle, and they should listen to the good ones, and they would be steered in the right directions, but the bad forces would cause harm. Once though he was finished spinning his web, he said that it was a perfect circle with a hole in the middle, and that the good ideas would get caught in the web and the bad would go right through the hole. The spiritual leaders brought this knowledge back to the people, who began to make Dreamcatchers to filter their dreams, to capture the good ones and let the bad ones go. So it's kind of a similar theory, but a little bit of a different origin. The Lakota and the Chippewa Dreamcatchers do look a hair different, but they all have that spider web with the hole in the center. So you guys are going to make a moon-shaped Dreamcatcher. Inside your kit, you're going to have 2 rings. And you can do any size ring. We're doing an 8-inch and a 4-inch ring. You can make it as big or as small as you want. This is just kind of what we're going to use. You want to make sure that your smaller ring, because they're going to fit in to make that moon shape there for you, is at least large enough to kind of create that hole. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have gotten a little bit bigger middle hole, but it is doable and you guys are going to be able to do it. You're going to get embroidery floss for your smaller ring, and we're going to use macrame yarn for our larger ring. You can definitely use regular yarn for any parts of this. The macrame, just as you can see, is wider and takes less time to go all the way around than I started with regular yarn to make the sample for you guys, and it slid around a lot and it was going to take forever. So the wider your yarn is, the less time it's going to take you to get all the way around, especially if you're using a really large circle. Inside your bag, you're also going to have some feathers and some beads that you can use what's left of your embroidery floss to embellish your Dreamcatcher. So we're going to start with the smaller one. Now, if you look at directions online, if you read a little bit, you can start with either size when we're making this. But if you start by connecting it and doing the larger ring first, you're gonna need a needle to work into your smaller one. So I would suggest starting with the smaller one and then attaching. It's a little bit easier for you and you won't poke yourself with a needle. So you're gonna start with a knot on your small hoop. You're then gonna take the tail, so make sure you leave a little bit of a tail. You're gonna take it and wrap it around a few times. And all this is doing is securing it a little bit, because we're gonna use metal rings. You can use wooden rings, like the embroidery rings, take them apart and use those. The metal ones actually cost a little bit less and come in kits together to make these, so they're a little easier sometimes. Once you wrap it around a few times, you're gonna knot it again. And I actually knotted mine twice after this point, just because the ring is metal and it slides a little bit. So you're gonna knot it and pull it tight. Once you have that knotted, you're gonna take your embroidery floss and you're just going to find a spot on the ring. You're going to go over and under and through. You're not knotting it, you're just looping it. And you're gonna pull that tight as you go. And you can see it's gonna slide a little bit, but as you start to build on that web, it'll start to hold itself a lot more than you think it's going to. You'll find another point on your ring, go over, under, and through. And pull it tight. And you're gonna go all the way around the ring until you get to your knot. Once you get to your knot, instead of attaching to the ring itself, you're going to attach to the center of your string. And you're gonna use the same method. You're gonna go over and under and through and pull it tight and then move to the next one. And you're just gonna do that all the way around your circle till you get to the center. Once you get to the center, you can tie a bead or you can simply finish it off. To finish mine off, instead of tying it into the center, I actually came back to my metal circle and tied it off there because I felt like it was a little bit more secure. My web is a little bit wobbly because I had some trouble pulling it tight, but that's okay. It can look however you'd like it to look. Once you have that done, you're gonna then attach the smaller ring to your larger ring. You're gonna put your knotted side against it because that'll help you to cover it up. You're gonna take your embroidery floss and wrap it around both rings a few times. And you're gonna kind of leave that there. You can go ahead and knot it if you want, or even hot glue it a little bit down to help hold it secure. If you've got good dexterity, you can kind of just let it go and hold itself for the time being. You're gonna then figure eight your yarn, your macrame yarn through. So you're gonna go and create a figure eight through that. So you're gonna come up through the center of your smaller ring and then between the two rings, like that, and then over the top, between the two rings, and then up through your center. So you're creating a figure eight. And you're gonna do that figure eight around the entire thing. So I'm gonna go through, over the top, through, and then through the bottom. And you can see a sort of a figure eight. You absolutely can just wrap it, but the figure eight does look kind of cool when it's done and holds it tight for you. The same as when you're doing the small ring on the embroidery, pull tight as you're going, and that'll help keep its shape for you. Once you get all the way back to your start, you're gonna take what's left of your tail, kind of put it down against, and again, hot glue is a little bit helpful here if you have any, and you're just gonna wrap what's left of it and tie it off. Once you have that tied off, you can take what's left of your embroidery string and add some feathers and beads wherever you would like along your hoop for some decoration. I hope that you learned a little bit about Indigenous dream catchers and have a little bit of fun creating your own. We'll see you next time as we have some more fun crafts coming up, and we're starting to get back into in-person, so we hope to see you here at the library enjoying some of these crafts. Have a great day.